Right, so we're going to ask Emily Lowe, the Talk Community Lead for Herefordshire Council, to come up and give us an update on the Talk Community Networks.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily Lowe, the Talk Community Development Lead. As Christine said, I think there are some new faces, so just to touch on what the Community Action Network meetings are, these are meetings that are held on a PCN level, which is about bringing our statutory services, our voluntary services and our community groups together to look at not just what some of those issues are, but it's a good place for us to information share things that are going on, and then also look at how some of those things that are arising can be resolved in those groups themselves without necessarily having to be escalated up. So that's what I thought I'd focus on today, was some of the things that have come out of the most recent network meetings, that by the communities sharing that intelligence, those relationships, looking at what different gaps there are, have been able to go away and resolve some of these issues. So one of them is a joint project to deliver a Money on Your Mind event in the local community. So different community groups in a market town are coming together to hold an event around that financial support. There's also been a project to develop a volunteer bank in Ledbury. So I think, Amy's here, who's our development officer for the East, but this is where we've got some pockets where there's a sort of abundance of volunteers and other areas that are struggling, and how can they work together to provide a bank to get a more even spread of that. There's been a joint project between the food bank and the community centre to try and create some more capacity around emergency food provision. I can move on to the next one. There we go. So Ledbury Town Council have launched a local public awareness campaign asking every resident to look out for their elderly or vulnerable neighbours, and then linking them in with Talk community hubs. So we know that social isolation is a really big issue, and this is a great way to try and prevent some of that, particularly through the winter months when getting out and about is much more challenging for people. West Mercia Women's Aid are going to be providing covert outreach support from food banks after this was an identified need at one of the meetings. We've also made a wellbeing connection trainer connection with the food bank, and they'll be attending regularly to provide support when they're there and taking referrals into that service. There's been a good connection made with Veterans Business Base and the Orange Button campaign, who presented there to try and provide some more direct hands-on support. Hereford Fire and Rescue have been attending some community hubs and promoting that free smoke alarm installation, and that's been taken up quite well by some residents as well. Accessible Herefordshire has offered free access and inclusion training to all attendees that they can then obviously share with their communities as well. And something that came up in the north was that the community brokers weren't aware about a really good monthly lunch club that they're now able to use when they're putting those care plans together. So that was just a list of who our development officers are for any of those network meetings. So if you're not already going and you're interested in joining, do drop us an email, we can add you in, and we've got quite a few of the officers here today, so do find them at the break and come along. They're really worthwhile meetings, and they are really, really good for making connections with other groups that you can work with too. Anyone got any questions? I'll hand over to Will.